For the following exercise, determine whether the relation represents y as a function of x. Alright, so in order to first determine that, the first step would be to make sure that this equation is solved for y. And fortunately, it is. Alright, so the first step of this process is always to make sure that the equation is solved for y, and if it isn't, we have to solve for y. So the first step here is done for us, and I'm following the steps that I listed down here on the bottom left. But the second step will then be to graph, the function. So now this graph, you can throw that into the calculator if you like, and the graph will look something along these lines probably, roughly. Alright, so don't worry about where the graphs cross the axes and all that stuff. It doesn't really matter. What I do know, though, is that this x cannot be 1/7. Because if it is 1/7, 7 times then 1/7 is equal to 1, and then 1 minus 1 is going to be equal to 0. So that's a problem, right? If this whole denominator is 0, it's undefined. So I do know that there is a value here at 1/7 in which the graph does not cross this vertical line. Right, so it'd be roughly there-ish. Now that doesn't really matter because in terms of our vertical line test, it says that a vertical line, if it does not intersect the graph more than once, so if it intersects it 0 times, it could still be a function, it really doesn't matter. Really, we're testing it to see if it intersects once or more, all right? So the third step here is to perform that vertical line test, so I'll take this, just copy it simply, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to draw more vertical lines, and I'm just going to test out the theory. If I draw a vertical line here, it only intersects this graph at one location. If I draw it here, only one location. If I draw it out here, only one location. And I think you can kind of begin to see the pattern, right? No matter where I draw it, it's only going to intersect it at one location. And that being the case, it does pass the vertical line test, right? So this is indeed then a function. So the equation that we were given, the relation that we were given initially, is indeed a function. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe. See you in the next video. Take care.